I was a vegetarian for off and on pretty much 20 years. And I was raised vegetarian. I went to vegetarian Adventist schools, and I went to a vegetarian medical school, Loma Linda University, which is in Southern California. Then I did my residency in South Carolina, and at the time, it was the number one state in the United States for a whole bunch of bad things, including obesity and type 2 diabetes and heart attacks and strokes and all sorts of metabolic disease. So I saw tons of extremely severe type 2 diabetes and complications and obesity and insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. And so from very early on, I adopted a large interest in the type 2 diabetes spectrum of diseases, metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance and obesity, and the various diseases that were associated with insulin resistance. Now, in medical school, they kind of taught us about diet, but the general thought was, well, you should eat a vegetarian diet because it's healthy and it's the right thing to do ethically and morally, but diet's not very powerful. And so the message for us was that people who have diabetes, it's mostly genetic. You have diabetes because your parents had diabetes. And, if both your parents are obese, there's an 80% chance you'll be obese. And if both your parents are diabetic, there's an 80% chance you'll be diabetic. And it's really just bad genetics, and we should feel sorry for these people. And yes, of course, they should eat a healthy vegetarian diet because it's just the right thing to do. But it's really all about the medication, right? So here are the drugs you put people on when you have diabetes, and then they will inevitably get worse, and then you put them on insulin, and this is how you gradually increase the insulin doses higher and higher and higher. And these are the complications you can expect from diabetes. And then 75% of diabetics die of giant heart attack, and that's just how it goes. And so this was kind of the angle I was coming at it from. I was told that all diabetics are going to get worse, and you just have to kind of feel sorry for them because it's not their fault, because they had this bad genetics, and that's just the lot they were dealt in life. And you just titrate their insulin doses higher and higher. And then I think what really caught my attention was a patient, a type 2 diabetic patient of mine in my internship. And this was, 20 years ago now, or more than this, was 22 years ago. And this patient, I was so used to having patients come in who had just gotten worse and worse and worse, right? Gaining weight, higher blood sugars, higher hemoglobin A1Cs, more diabetic neuropathy, retinopathy, nephropathy, all these complications and problems. And one day someone came in and I looked at the patient, I looked at his chart, and I was like, wow, you just lost 30 pounds and your blood sugar's normal. And this guy was like, yeah, I feel awesome. I've never felt this good. I even stopped taking my medications. He had normal blood pressure, normal blood sugar. He felt great. And I asked this guy, what the hell did you do? Because I have to know so I can tell other people to do whatever it is you did. And he throws down a copy of the original Dr. Atkins book, Dr. Atkins Diet Revolution. And he was like, oh, I just read this book and it told me to not eat carbs, and that's what I did. And next thing you know, I'm just not that hungry. I lost all this weight. I feel awesome. And so I went to my instructors in internship and I said, you have got to see this guy. He totally changed his diet and he feels awesome, and all this great stuff happened. And they just kind of looked at me and said, well, what happened to his total cholesterol? And I admitted that I didn't even really look. I didn't even notice. I didn't, and they're like, oh, well, go look. And sure enough, his total cholesterol had gone up, 10 or 20 points. And they're like, oh, great. He probably died of a heart attack in the parking lot, and you're the worst doctor ever, and way to go. And under no circumstances are you allowed to recommend this sort of diet for anyone ever at all, period, goodbye. And so that really got me thinking, what is going on here? Why is this single dietary intervention so powerful? And why is it that absolutely everything you could measure subjectively or objectively got better for this person, except for his total and LDL cholesterol? And I just spent the next 20 years researching the the impact of diet on health, and specifically macronutrients on diet and health. And so I've just been researching the heck out of this my entire career. And it's just been hugely interesting to me, both personally and professionally. And I have been recommending at least some degree of carbohydrate restriction for a lot of my patients ever since then.